Hey there, Sir Yuan here. Welcome to GE English 102 Technical Writing. This is video lesson number 2. If you're watching this video, we are either on an online asynchronous modality or we're having an emergency as of the moment. Now, let us continue. From the previous lesson, lesson 1, up until lesson 2, we were taught, we were discussing about considerations before writing your technical write-up. These considerations are the audience. You need to consider the audience. You need to consider the subject matter, the expression, the arrangement of materials and information, and the style. With the audience, you need to consider the audience mainly because they are the target market of your information. You'll be sharing your information to the target audience. The subject matter should be also considered mainly because everything that you're going to discuss will only be about the subject matter, nothing more, nothing less. The expression also should be considered as you'll be using expressions, words, terminologies, may it be common or highfalutin words to share or to convey the information you'd like the audience to know. You need to arrange the information accordingly so that it'll be easier to understand, and the style of how you're going to present the information. For today, we'll be talking about relevant laws and ethical considerations related to technical writing. First things that you need to consider while you are on the process of writing is telling the truth. Being a technical writer, you need to be truthful of the information that you're going to present to the audience. This is because this may either make or break the information that they are about to receive. And given that you're going to be truthful with the information, you need to be very clear. You need to make it obvious that the information that you're going to give is only this, nothing more, nothing less. Aside from that, since you'll be writing a certain information, of course, as a writer, it is easier for you or for us to understand whatever we are writing about. This is because we are the writers of our material, and hence it is easier for us to comprehend that particular matter. For most of our readers, it may not be the same case. This is because they do not function or think like us. Although we assume that they are intelligent, they are uninformed or they are lacking in certain areas of the expertise. Thirdly, we don't need to use discriminatory language or strong language whenever we are writing a technical write-up. This is because when we are using those types of words, it be easier to sway or persuade the audience to think about something else or to feel something else, as this is not the main purpose or main goal of technical writing. It should be avoided. In English, we usually say we need to use neutral words to convey our information. This is so that it'll be easier for our audience to understand and comprehend, and at the same time, it'll be easier for us to write about the information that we would like to share with our audience. Lastly, we need to be, or rather, we need to abide by the relevant laws governing the country that we are writing in, and at the same time, we need to be very professional with how we write or convey our information. Now, if we do not follow those, we risk falsely implying to our readers or to our audience that the information that we are about to give them is truthful. As mentioned earlier, we need to be truthful and we need to be very clear of the information that we're going to give. Then we need to be very careful of what we're going to write about. Also, we don't need to exaggerate certain informations, as this is not the main purpose of technical writing. Also, we do not use euphemism, and given all those, we risk misleading our readers, and we don't want that. We don't want our readers misled to be thinking of something else. We don't want our readers to be confused about certain expressions or concepts or tips or techniques that they may find to be always true. We can give them certain techniques and tips, however, we need to put a disclaimer on that as it will not work for everybody. Now, given those, one of the main principles of ethical communication, or in our particular case, communicating in a very technical manner, ethically, we are like researchers. Take, for example, TED Talk speakers before they're able to speak in front of a big audience, they need to experience or they have credible experience in that particular field. They need to be well versed in that particular field, meaning to say they have taken the time to study the particular field that you're about to talk about before they even think about talking in front of other people. This is why when we are writing about technical concepts, we become experts in that particular field. And as experts in that particular field, we need to consider the bounds and the limitation of those subject matter to whatever that we are about to share. Given that, we have four bodies of law that we need to discuss, especially with technical writing. I'll make this easier to understand so that everybody may be able to follow. Firstly, we have the copyright law. Copyright law covers the protection of the rights of the author. In this sense, in our situation, as you have written your first blog entry, you are the authors of the blog entry. And as such, you have rights to those entries, meaning to say only you, anyone who is part of the group, who contributed to the idea, who helped in the writing process and the publishing process, have the rights to write, to rewrite, to make certain revisions, to share, to publish, may it be on the internet or in a physical format. You and only you have the rights. In our situation, you are the creators and I am the government, meaning to say I will be checking your creation. I'll be making sure that everything is in order, that you are not plagiarizing anybody's work, and so on and so forth. Second, trademark law. This pertains to federal protection of whatever that you have created. For trademark law, we have two things that we need to think about. This is the symbol and the design. The design is for trademark law, it is not very strict with the design. However, it is quite rigid and quite strict with symbols. I'll give you an example. With the McDonald's symbol, the big letter M, whenever you see that in public, the first thing that you will ever assume is there is a McDonald's establishment nearby or in that particular area. This is because McDonald's, over the course of their operation and years operating, has established that that particular symbol is synonymous with the fast food chain. Let's take, for example, you see that symbol, however, you you were not expecting to see another establishment aside from McDonald's, and therefore that is infringing the copyright right of the owners of McDonald's. However, with um, with those particular phenomena, we'll be discussing about that in a little while. With symbols, it is a trademark of the creators of that particular food chain, and therefore, since they have trademark on those, they can actually um, use the symbol however they wish to. So let's say, for example, that is the symbol with the sign. In every month, there is a corresponding event, a corresponding celebration. And so usually with McDonald's, they will have themes. Um, to add in the symbol. For example, with the Christmas season, they will add a Santa hat on the McDonald's symbol. So that is the design for Christmas. That is okay, as it is just a design. If we take out that design, we are still using the same symbol, which is McDonald's. So going back to that example earlier, let's say for example, you see the McDonald's symbol, however, you did not expect to see a different establishment, then that would be using the trademark symbol for McDonald's. However, there's a catch. In every country, there are, I think, and this is per my observation, don't quote me on that, on this one. They can use certain symbols, however, they need to provide a different title or a different company name. This is because the the company that originally created a trademark symbol did not originate in that particular country. And so, for example, let's take anime, for example. For those who are fond of animes, usually we see the logo of Starbucks, or what is, you know, a silhouette of the logo of Starbucks in certain scenes of anime episodes. However, with different names or sometimes with a Japanese name. This is permitted so that the trademark law does not put the anime or the show in jeopardy, or the creators will not put themselves in jeopardy in that particular sense for using a trademark of someone else. Another would be usually in the Philippines, we do have those types of instances where an establishment, a local establishment, will use a international trademark symbol with a different name. They can operate as such because they have different company names. However, it does not mean that McDonald's cannot sue, or whatever company who created that symbol in the first place cannot sue that particular local establishment. They still have rights for those. So that's trademark. However, certain companies or institutions or groups may be able to use certain symbols provided a contract. Let's say, for example, with Spider-Man. I hope everybody is familiar with Spider-Man. Over the course of the year, of the decade of comics, Marvel has had Spider-Man's rights. However, in more recent years, Sony was able to buy the rights to Spider-Man, and therefore Marvel, although they are a big company and they created Spider-Man, cannot use Spider-Man anymore as Sony bought the rights for Spider-Man. And so Sony was able to use Spider-Man in most of their PlayStation games, as well as creating movies originally by Sony about Spider-Man and his adventures. Now, if Marvel would like to use Spider-Man in the Marvel universe, they will need to enter into a contract with Sony. And so they will need to pay royalty fees to Sony, as they will be using um, Spider-Man in their movies. This is what we call partial rights. And so they will have partial rights to Spider-Man given um, by Sony for a specific duration. So in the case of Marvel and Sony, they would Marvel would be able to use Spider-Man in maybe, for example, 4 movies, 3 movies, or 2 movies, so on and so forth. If they want to extend that duration, they will need to enter into another contract with Sony. This is the same with your blog entries. No one can share or reshare your blog entries without your permission. So you need to enter into a contract. However, with social media sharing, it is a different case, as us users, we were able to enter, or rather, we entered into an agreement with the social media site or creator regarding sharing of information. Whether or not we allow it or we permit it, it is up to our agreement with that particular social media platform. Now, if let's say you don't want to um, share or have your material published in a material form, in a physical form, or over the World Wide Web, then you may enter into a contract with whoever would like to publish your work, and they will pay you royalty fees depending on what is stipulated in your contract. Lastly is liability law. This pertains to responsibilities or obligations of writers, especially claims they made on paper. So, for example, since you wrote the blog entry, you have the rights to that blog entry. What if someone outside the group stole the idea and you were able to prove that idea? Well, in that particular case, you can sue them for for stealing your idea. This happens also internationally or in the real world. Now, in the Philippines, under RA 8293, that is the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, um, whoever, if you are, for example, proven to be guilty of plagiarism, you'll be imprisoned for the first offense. You'll be imprisoned 3 years and 1 day, and you need to pay 150,000 pesos. Now, depending on the contract, you're going to pay it upfront or in staggered payments. For the second offense, if you were again proven guilty for plagiarism, then you will be imprisoned 6 years and 1 day. This is for the second offense and the succeeding offenses that you'll be making. And you need to pay 500,000 pesos in damages, whether it be upfront or staggered payment, depending on the agreement stipulated. So, liability plays a big role. Let's say, for example, um, in a much wider scene, there was a time where Apple and Samsung had a bickering rivalry, of which resulted to a lawsuit um, pertaining stealing of designs. Another would be, let's say, for example, between tech companies, they will sue others for designs, especially or in a special case like um, smartphone covers. Those can be um, press a company could press charges regarding those, as it is not as they did not reference the original company who made those original creations. And so in your case, if someone stole your idea and you were able to prove it, then you may be able to press charges as well. Now, for those who are not familiar with the intellectual property code of the Philippines, you may be able to search them by the World Wide Web. You can have a copy of that Republic Act. However, for the purposes of our subject, you may want to focus your attention on RA 8293, sections 171 onwards, as this covers copyright law and liabilities, as well as trademark as well. So there you have it. That is the lesson. For the activity, this is your second blog entry and the last blog entry for this grading. You will need to write about ethical dilemmas or challenges in a multicultural setting. The URL deadline is February 9, 2024. The checking will be February 10, 2024. Now, the topic is very broad. You can narrow it down to your experiences in school or in, like, for example, working with a multicultural member or working with your professors in general, since they are from a different family or a different background. So you can use those experiences as an example. However, since we are giving information, then you need to try and not persuade your readers to do certain things. Do not motivate them, like, for example, to work with your group members. Just talk about your dilemmas and challenges, ethical dilemmas and challenges. You may want to use certain articles to your advantage so that you may be able to pinpoint and choose, um, your most suitable dilemmas or challenges. The rubric will be the same. Scoring will be the same as well, so that everybody will be able to follow and for ease of use. Now, this is the end of the lesson. I hope I was able to share with you properly the information, and I hope you were able to understand certain information for lesson 2. If you have questions or clarifications, do send me a message via the GC so that everybody may be able to benefit from your question. Until next time, stay safe and have a great day.